Well, good evening everyone and welcome along to Inside Line Racing Season 3. We're back for ILR2 round number 4 here at the Spanish Grand Prix situated in the wonderful hills of Catalonia. So we're back once again at the Spanish GP. These drivers know the track very well from testing and they'll be heading around for their qualifying laps very, very shortly indeed. We had a stellar race in Bahrain with some interesting last lap drama with many, many punctures. But joining me, as always, well, not really as always, because both of us weren't here last week. We won't talk about that. But yeah, joining me as always in the commentary box is, of course, ILR1 Maestro, Brandon.
That is actually more insulting to me than you'd think.
Yes, I insulted Brandon on street! Unintentionally. But yeah, we're back. ILR2 Spanish Grand Prix. I'm a little bit out of practice because I just got back in the door. But here we are. Who is going to get pole today? Of course, George. We must remember it is his home Grand Prix. Now, of course, we're all very, 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 very familiar with George's interesting stats for starting on pole. He has disconnected 100% of the time he's been on pole. So let's hope that he doesn't get pole here today, and that he goes on to win, perhaps. We'll see how that gets on.
Well,
currently,
hopefully, because he's so close to this circuit, he should have a massive issue with his internet connecting to this circuit.
Well, that was an interesting statement. Your internet connects to the circuit. Yeah, that's a new one.
That's why everyone does better at a home Grand Prix.
Wow, so some new stats coming in there. Mr. Costa, the Portuguese man, goes current fastest with a 118.6. Of course, he'll want to destruct George as much as possible because these guys are pretty much neighbours and rivals. One in Portugal, one in Spain, so let's see how they get on. So currently, provisional order is Mr. Costa, 96 P1, with Lioblade in P2, couple of hundredths of a second off. Then we have Paga, your winner last time out in Bahrain, finally came to get a win out of all that. And actually, I think we've all seen that crash he had across the line. Well, he actually got a puncture as he came across the line and piled into the wall. That is why he ended up there. But he's currently your championship leader. But of course, we've had 3 different winners in 3 different Grand Prix. Let's see if we can get our 4th today. Who's going to come out on top? Sam has stopped on track to just let his teammate through there. We have George, as we said, going through there. Corey in P6. He missed out on points in the last 2 Grand Prix. Actually hasn't scored any points this season as far as I know, which is not a great statistic for the Season 1 ILR1 Championship contender. And we have Silent Assassin in P7 with Kaxaxik in P9, and a couple of order changes there as AVR Jacobs P6. Then we have Tom coming in the pit lane. Luke, who crashed out in round 1. Let's see if he can grab some points today. Of course, I believe he scored a podium last season here in Spain, or came close to it.
No, I think he...
Did he get one?
Might have actually got the podium.
I think he got P3. Because I remember himself and Nicolo were battling in the Saubers. But let's see if he can get himself a good result once again here. And oh, Liam's actually made it, so that's interesting. Liam Robo has joined the session. Then we have Hellboy in the Red Bull. Let's hope we don't see any incidents involving Red Bulls and Ferraris as we saw earlier today in China in the real-life Grand Prix. But then again, we won't complain if we do, because then it just adds to some interesting drama. Then we have Pagani in P14. Then we have the Malteser, as we like to call him, Massive in P15. On a lap. Might ride on board with him as he heads down towards the end of Sector 1. It's a long flowing section, long right-hander. Then we head down towards the downhill hairpin, onto the brakes, roll the car through, hit the apex. Short shifting up to 3rd, interestingly enough, just to get the traction. When it comes to this uphill chicane almost, left-right. Gotta get that first one right to get the second one right. Then we go up to this wonderful corner, absolutely flat, slight lift from Massive there with second of the DRS zones. Then we come to the sort of new section of track. The MotoGP goes straight on and use the better version of the track in my opinion by going down the long right-hander. Then we come into this next sweeping right. And instead of using the proper track, we're going to head down into the chicane, which of course everybody hates because the old track is a lot better. And here we come through the long last corner. struggling a little bit for traction there. DRS wide open for Massive, and he's going to go P4 with a 1:18.7. That is a good effort from Massive, and he's only about 9 thousandths of a second of Paga. So now he's looking quite competitive, is the man from Malta, new driver into ILR2 this season. Let's see if he can get himself any further up that grid. He doesn't have to find too much more time, only 10th of a second off of the... well, about a 10th of a second off of Mr. Costa, so we could see some order changes here today. I just saw Matter has retired, so he's not going to be taking any further part in this session. And Paul McGinn is setting a lap there to go 9th, and Corey is your last of the top 10. So now we have everybody pretty much in the pits, apart from a few drivers out on track currently. But now, fresh set of tyres, reset the mind, and let's see if they can improve their lap times. Look at this. So we're looking at the Sauber of Kaksaksik. The Finn going through Sector 2 now. Let's see if this man can grab a podium at all this season. It'd be nice to see him grab one. On the limit up through that right-hander. DRS wide open. Onto the brakes into this next section. So Brandon, how did you find this track driving in ILR1? Is it tough, or is it one of the easier tracks?
Well, it was sort of a bit of a mix. It was that uphill section, Casper's just gone by, which I found probably the most difficult, because your back end would always want to step out as you went up on those curbs. As he just set a
wow.
time.
I didn't want to cut across here, but Kaksaksik setting a 1:18.6 to go P2, and only 300ths of a second off of Mr. Costa. Now this is getting into a very, very interesting qualifying. He's given up. He's really happy with that lap. That is some mega pace from the Finn.
He didn't have enough time to come
to get around
and go into the pits.
That's why he's given up. But yeah, excellent job from him. Now these guys have got to respond. So Mr. Costa coming back out on track. Let's see if Lyle Blade can get himself onto pole position once again. Can any of these guys do anything to displace Mr. Costa?
Just on board with Parga and watching him stay on the 7th gear and the 5th gear for so long, he is over-revving that car massively.
Yeah, now if this was a real-life qualifying session, you wouldn't want to do that, because you've got to use the engine for the race as well. And it is actually probably a little bit painful to listen to this. If you hear him revving out the gears to the top of their limit, at 15,000 RPM, maybe close to 18,000 RPM, it's not really a nice sound, but we're on board with the Dutchman as he runs through Sector 2 towards Sector 3, getting on the brakes. Nice line through that section of corners there, and revving out the 4th gear as well. The engine is screaming in torment. Let's see how he gets on through this next section. Of course, all the drivers have got to submit their qualifying laps, because they do tend to like to cut that last chicane, but Paga does not do so. And coming through the last corner then, all the top 3 have a 1:18.6. Can Paga do anything to displace them? I don't think he can, but he's got one more try if he wants to. Lyle Blade also on a lap, with Mr. Costa also on a lap. Everybody is on a lap at this moment in time. There is no outlaps, there is nobody in the pits. Everybody is out on track to set a lap time. Mr. Costa just going on to a lap then. Lyle Blade.
Corey coming around the final corner.
Let's have a look at what Corey can do then. He comes out P1, 1:18.5 for Corey. So he's got his pace back, he's found it, and now he's got onto pole position, provisional pole position that is. And let's see if he can hold on to that. Mr. Costa very wide. I don't think he's going to be able to improve on his lap time with anything like that. He runs wide through the long sweeping turn 2. And that might be it for his lap, but we'll see in due course. Let's see if anybody... AVRJ goes P5 with that lap. He's also got another try if he wants to. But you can see how close everybody is. The top 10 almost just separated by about 0.3 of a second. Qualifying is over, but everybody is on a lap still. Can anybody improve? Corey is currently on provisional pole position, and he's coming through Sector 2 right now. Mr. Costa, we're going to ride on board with the man from Portugal to see if he can improve at all on his time. We did see him run wide to turn 2. Paga has found it, 118.3.
Corner cut on the chicane.
Corner cut on the chicane, says Brandon. And that will be reviewed, of course. So let's see. Oh, Tom's got it. 118.322. Across the line comes Mr. Costa. He can't improve. But Tom in the Ferrari has found the pace. Corey comes through. Hellboy goes 4th on a 118.5. Corey comes across the line. Can he do anything? No, he can't. Lio Blade's down to 7th. Lio Blade is coming around the final corner. Let's see if he can do anything. Silent Assassin across the line goes 9th. Lio Blade goes P1. He's found the pace. 118.2. And that is it for qualifying. I think nobody else can improve apart from maybe Paul McGuinness. He's into the pit lane. Lio Blade steals it at the death.
Massives has got a wheel off.
Oh dear. He was on a lap as well. He's bottled it at the last corner.
That isn't a good place to lose it.
Well then, Lio Blade. Pole position once again in ILR2. He's found the pace of the dying moments. And Tom, what can you say? Front row start for the Ferrari driver, and he's having some interesting interactions with some AI there. But it's going to be Lio Blade lining up on pole position for round 4 of ILR2. Tom on P2, and we'll get the rest of the results for you in just a moment.
It's very disappointing qualifying for Luke. Down in 16th.
Yeah, I thought it would be better for him. There you have it. 6800ths of a second was all it was. Paga P3. George actually popped up to 4th. We didn't even notice that. In his home Grand Prix, he's done well. And let's just see the gap down to... It's about a second covering the entire field. That's how close it is. Luke down in 16th. He was only 8/10 of a second off the pace, but that put him down in 16th. So Hellboy 6th, Costa 7th, Kaxaxic 8th, Silent Assassin 9th, and ILRGT in 10th with massive... Just outside the top 10, but with free tyre choice. Flexi, Matt, Paul McGuinness, Phil Bargewell, Luke, Pagani, and Scott rounds out the grid. So extremely close once again, but that is how much it can change.
It's a very, very close grid.
And it's still not failing to disappoint so far.
Which is absolutely fantastic, and that's why we've had so many different winners over the past 3 Grand Prix. And will we see a 4th different winner this time today? We could do, because we've got some interesting drivers on the front row and in the various roles. But what are you thinking for strategy, Brandon? 1 stop, 2 stop, what are we thinking?
Anyone outside the top 10 could start either on the mediums or the hards and go as long as they can, and opt for a set of softs at the end, or possibly mediums if you're on the hard compound. Honestly, I'm kind of stuck on strategy because my strategy myself wasn't very good.
Here we go for the formation lap for ILR2. Away they go then. It's going to be Lio Blade leading the way in the Red Bull. And interestingly enough, it's going to be a Red Bull and a Ferrari on the front row, which may end badly if we think back to China earlier today. But there we go. Lio Blade in P1. Tom will start in P2. We'll just get the tyre graphic up for you all now so you can see who's starting on what. Everybody in the top 10, of course, has to start on the tyres they did their qualifying laps on. Outside the top 10, we have Massive starting on the medium compound tyre. Matter also going for the mediums. Phil Bargewell going for the mediums. And 2 drivers have opted for the hards. That is Luke and Liam, who's just going to be starting on the back since he did not make qualifying. So
that is very, very interesting, because in the ILR1 race, Nowek and Ice both started on the hards and we're both 16th and 19th.
Well then, so literally copying exactly to the position the strategies. It's very interesting indeed. But yeah, there we go. Lio Blade P1, Tom P2, Paga the first of the Williams in P3. George in his home Grand Prix will start in P4, and Corey with a good qualifying the next of the Williams in P5. Hellboy in P6. Mr. Costa, who sat on provisional pole for so long, got knocked down to P7. Kaxaxic P8, Silent Assassin P9, and AVR Jake will start P10. Then we have Massive in P11, Sam in P12. The 2 Toro Rossos will share a role together. Matter getting the better of Paul McGuinness this time around. Phil Bargewell will start P15. Luke, disappointingly enough, will start 16th, but he's going for the hard tyre, so watch him. He'll probably end up in the top 5 later on. We've had someone spin on the formation lap. I think that was Jake who spun on the formation lap. That's embarrassing.
Yes.
Then we have Pagani coming through the final quarter now. Scott down in P18. He's obviously a contender this season. Let's see what he can do from the back of the grid. P18. And Liam Robber will be the last line up on the grid. And then we will begin the start sequence for round 4 of ILR2, Season 3. Here in Spain. 3 different winners in the last 3 Grand Prix. Can we see a 4th? Who is it going to be today then? Facing towards turn 1, it's the Red Bull of Lyleblade, the Ferrari of Tom, and there come those 5 red lights. And it's lights out, and away we go. Lyleblade gets away very well, but Paga gets an excellent start from row 2. Alongside they go. There's Tom alongside him there, but it's going to be Paga. I think he's going to have the jump at the turn 1. Tom on the inside. We also have George looking on the inside as well. That's Paga going around the outside of Tom into turn 1. He's made it work. That's an excellent move for the Dutchman. Lyleblade gets away well. Paga into P2, Tom into P3. And I think they've all got through relatively cleanly down towards... Whoa, dear, there was a bit of wiggling around there between the Sauber and a couple of other drivers. But there you have it. They've all got through relatively cleanly. Luke has dropped to the back for whatever reason. Maybe a bit of contact there. But there we have it. Lyleblade into P1. Paga makes a nice move around the outside into P2. And then further down the order we have Massive into P8. That's a great start from him. He started P14, I believe. So he's into P11, sorry. So he's up into P8. Kaksak's at P9. And Corey's had a disaster. He's down to P10. Oh dear. We've got Mercedes flicking around into the wall there. That was Sam momentarily. We also have a move. That's between Corey and Kaksaksik. Corey down the inside for 9th position. So they're pushing very hard in the opening laps, trying to make the most and get the most out of their tyres early on. But after lap 1, it's Lyleblade who's got the perfect start he needed, and away he goes, 0.7 of a second clear already of the man in second place. That is Paga. Through they come to start lap 2. Tom still holding on to P3 there. George P4. Mr. Costa in P5. Let's have a look at your biggest movers on this lap. Silent Assassin up 3. Massive up 3 as well. So nobody making huge jumps. AVR Jake losing 4 on that lap. So...
Same as Corey.
Yeah. So let's keep an eye on everything. Everybody just filing into a nice orderly line now. Let's flick down through.
It does need to be noted, Hellboy and Corey did have an incident into turn 1, leading with Hellboy having front wing damage.
Rightio. So that may be submitted to the stewards. We'll see in due course. Currently, closest battle on tracks between Mr. Costa, who's all over the back of the Spaniard. That is George. No DRS until lap 3. Oh, there's somebody in the wall. There's somebody in the wall. That is a Haas. That is, I believe, Massive, who's gone into the wall hard. And he somehow got away with that. But down when he goes to the back, I'm not sure what happened. But he's got away with it without losing his wheel somehow.
Oh,
he's out. He's out. What a shame. He's gone straight into the wall. He's obviously given up, or his wheel's disconnected or something.
That was a brake failure.
That's a brake failure. Wow. There you go. Gunther Steiner is not happy with a broken Haas in the wall. So there you have it. Massive is our first retirement from the Spanish Grand Prix. What a shame. You showed great promise. Yep. Mr. Costa looking really, really racy. In P5, he's all over the Spaniard of George, but Silent Assassin's right with them as well. And in the background, I believe that's Hellboy and Corey going wheel to wheel towards turn 2. Who's going to get the better? Corey down the inside. He's made it work. So Corey trying to recover from his terrible start. He's defending. Oh, here comes Hellboy trying to go around the outside, and watch the cutback on the inside now. He'll get the traction and he'll pull alongside the Williams. Let's see if he can make this move work. He's going to stick down the inside. He is ahead. Can Corey fight back? No, he can't. So a nice bit of defensive driving from Hellboy, and Corey's now got bad traction on that last course. Now Keksax is going to get involved. He can smell blood. So here comes the Finn to try and see if he can steal away P8. But also in the background is Sam and the Toro Rosso of Paul McGuinness. Down the inside goes Sam on Kaksaksik to take away P9. He shoves him right off the track in a nice little move there. And that was textbook stuff from Sam, trying to fight his way through the field after not the best qualifying from him. But now we're going to watch Hellboy with a poor exit. He's come straight into the pits. He obviously has wing damage, as he said, between himself and Hellboy. That is Corey, of course. Now, Corey will have DRS off of Hellboy, but now Sam's going to be all over the back of him as we run down towards turn 1. The Williams goes defensive down towards turn 1. Kaksaksik also looking, see if he can maybe get involved in this as well. But all the drivers now fighting for P7 in this Grand Prix. Paul McGuinness up to P10 now. As a result, he's lurking in the background, is the Scotsman. Let's see if anybody can make any moves. Meanwhile, Liveblade 1.6 seconds clear out front and doing an excellent job controlling this race. And in the background I can just see, I think, Jake and Phil going out a little bit there. Now
Leo has just used his time to just start a little streak away, try and get that gap up on Parga, because if he is going on an alternating strategy to him, then obviously he'll need to build up that gap and he'll need to get the pace away from all the traffic. Otherwise, he just won't be able to go. As you see, Paul's gone very deep into the hairpin. And that's brought this following pack right back up.
Exactly, it has indeed. So Paul, I think maybe thought he was going to take the old track, but no. So now he's bringing everybody together, as he does in the old hashtag MCG train. Ooh. Now we have DRS, of course, and now we're going to see a lot of passes, and we see Mr. Costa and George about to go at it. Here comes Mr. Costa to the outside, down towards turn 1. Silent Assassin looking in the background. Here comes the Haas trying to go around the outside. No, he can't do it, but now he's going to be vulnerable to Silent Assassin. He's going to come around the outside of turn number 2. He's trying to sweep around the outside. No, not enough room for him to do so, but he may get a cutback on the way out here. Just keep an eye on the Ferrari. He goes defensive, does Mr. Costa, but no cigar for the Ferrari. It's customer team on works team, and it's currently the customer team getting the better of him.
Down the inside goes the Mata. Bill Bardwell just going backwards after a very poor exit out of the chicane. As he tries to make a move back down the inside, slight contact between the two cars. Deals on the side, but Mata has backed out.
Bit feisty there from Matt and Phil. Matt got a second place on the last lap last time out. We're just flicking back as Corey goes a bit wide through the gravel trap. And I just see Mr. Costa's got past. No, he hasn't, because George gets the cutback, and now he's going to lose the position to the Ferrari. No! Very close between the Haas and the Ferrari. I think Mr. Costa tried a very late lunge into that left-hander. Didn't quite work out, but now George will be vulnerable, of course, because he hasn't not got DRS. You can see Tom also putting the pressure on Paga as well. He's only 5/10 of a second behind. So we'll keep an eye on that battle as well as that unfolds. And we're going to move to that battle as Tom tries to find a way past Pagan. No cigar. Let's go to Mr. Costa, who's trying to defend from the Ferrari. Look at that Silent Assassin. Goes very late. What a move. What a stunning move from the Ferrari. Goes round the outside in the braking zone. That was stunning from Silent Assassin. That is as confident as you want to be.
Mr. Costa did not expect that, and there was actually slight contact. Ever so slightly did Silent Assassin go round the outside. Mr. Costa went a bit deep and hit the rear of Jordan. And I think that compromises exit to try and defend against it, and that's how Jordan got by so easily.
Yeah, took some courage to do that. Excellent move from the Ferrari. That's got him into P5 now. Now we can put the pressure on George, who's just up ahead.
Oh no, the other Haas has gone into the same road as his teammate, and he's out.
Gene Haas is banging his fist on the table. Both Haas cars out of the Spanish Grand Prix in pretty much the same place. Massive hit that wall as well, and now Mr. Costa is out. That is a shame for the Haas team, on to score some great points here today. George has got a poor exit. Here comes Silent Assassin on the inside. Not quite enough room, but he will have DRS, and they're catching but Tom and Paga. So now look at the defense from George. Here comes Silent Assassin to the inside. George is going to squeeze him right to the grass. But he comes back, and Silent Assassin, I think, is through into P4. Yes, he is. And that was a nice, easy DRS pass. And now he can start to get himself up to the back of Tom. And maybe George can use this as well. Trying to stick with Silent Assassin and see if he can pull himself up towards the lead battle. Meanwhile, Liveblade is 3.1 seconds out front and doing a great job controlling this race. Let's go back to this little train between Corey, Kaksaksik, Paul, and Sam a little bit up ahead, kind of dragging these guys along. further down the order, let's see what's going on. We have Matt and Phil still together. Pagani involved in that as well as Liam Robbo, Scott, and Luke sort of involved as well. Hellboy down the back after his pit stop. There is Lyleblade out front by 2.9 seconds. Ahead of Paga. And he's doing a good job, as we said. But now Paga starting to maybe pile the pressure on a little bit because he brought that gap from 3.1. Corey in for a stop. No wing damage. This is a scheduled pit stop, I would assume. That's right on board with the Williams driver.
He wants that undercut. He wants that extra pace.
It's going to be the hard tyres. Looks like the hards to me. Yes, it is.
He wants that extra pace. He doesn't think his softs can go much longer. He wants that extra pace on the undercut. Just hopefully get past Sam and Casper, and he can probably streak away if he's lucky.
Indeed, might see a move between for P10. Phil and Matt are having a ding-dong battle here. They've been going at it for a couple of laps. And still, a bit wiggly there between the two of them as one of them got on the grass. And there is a train forming now between these guys as Pagani's just getting up to the back of him. As well as Liam Robbo and Scott. And the one who's going to be worst off here is Phil. He's the only one who doesn't have DRS. Here comes Matt. Is he going to look up the inside? No. Any moves behind? Don't think so. Everybody's still holding station in this battle.
Oh, Scott.
Oh, yeah.
Looked for a move at the back out.
Just can't find the grip. He's trying and find a way past around the outside of Liam, but he can't quite find it. But we're going to stick with Phil. Well, actually, we'll stick with Matt as we run down towards turn 1.
Pagani's got a poor exit.
Yeah, let's watch that battle as Liam Robbo. Yeah.
Right on the back.
He's alongside, but he as well does Pagani. He has DRS. And they're going to be evens down towards turn 1. Who's going to come out on top? Liam with the inside line, and that is straight through into P12. Started on the hard tyres. He's going to be going quite deep into this race. She's got to make sure that he carves his way through the field as much as possible.
He'll want to get to at least lap 19 before he decides on pitting. Because either the mediums won't make it to the end, or he'll have to do a two-stop if he decides to choose the soft tyres.
Yep,
The
indeed.
tyres just too high around this track.
Yep, we're going to go back to the battle for third. As Silent Assassin is on the back of his teammate here. And they're just slightly losing touch a little bit. Tom's starting to just drop back from Paga. He's only just outside DRS range of 1.1 seconds.
Pagani's hit the back of Liam. He's lost part of his front wing.
Easy done. So, Tom will not have DRS, but his teammate Silent Assassin will.
Whoa!
Oh, it looks like we've had a problem. Pagani has spun the car.
That car has just wiggled its way into nowhere. Just ever slight contact with Scott led to Pagani just drifting off a slight, and then his car just completely turned the wrong way. That was a very bizarre spin.
Probably the physics coming into play there. Probably didn't know what to do. Silent Assassin, is he looking down the inside of his teammate? They're looking. Almost a little bit of contact. Tom leaves the space. And there goes Silent Assassin getting the traction. Getting sideways a little bit. And here comes Silent Assassin down the inside. Is Tom going to fight back on the outside? Yes, he is. He's going to leave the room. No, they punt each other. Contact between the teammates. There is going to be some angry words said in the rooms afterwards. George gets through as a result into P4. Tom is not going to be happy with that. I think Silent Assassin maybe just gave him a little squeeze on the way out of the chicane there. So an interesting exchange there. But now Silent Assassin can now chase after Paga.
Bane, it's a classic for teammates hitting one another.
In comes Lyleblade, your race leader is in, as is Paga. Silent Assassin in as well. George, for honour and for glory, George is going to take the lead of his home Grand Prix in the Force Indy. He's going to go a little bit longer. Now let's go back to Lyleblade, just in the pit lane to see what he's gone on to.
Double stacking in the Ferrari garage.
Oh no. Double stacking in the
dear.
Ferrari garage. Everybody
It's
has
gone
stopped.
from bad to worse for Tom.
Oh dear, and he's got second dibs on pit stops obviously there. Lyleblade just comes out in front of Scott there, and they all seem to have gone onto the hard tyres. But right now your grid order is George leading his home Grand Prix for one lap at least.
Oh, that's going to be a heavy hitter for Tom. Oh, Hellboy,
Wow.
can he make a move?
I just watched a really nice move for the matter going around the outside of turn 3 on Phil Bardwell. So he's finally got past the Sauber into P6, that'll be. Just caught the end of that move. Very, very nice. And now Liam Robbo's right in the back. Now Liam started on the hard tyres, so you'll see him stay out for quite a long time. And we're still looking to see if we can get our 4th different winner this season. It's looking a little bit unlikely, unfortunately, as I believe Lyleblade already has a victory this season. George into the pit lane, Sam in as well, and believe it or not, Paul McGuinness takes the lead of the Spanish Grand Prix. He's going deep on those soft tyres, and that'll probably be the only time you may see this season. It is a Toro Rosso 1-2 in Spain as Paul McGuinness leads the matter in P2, Phil Bardwell in P3. These guys started on the mediums into P2 and 3, so they'll be going a little bit longer into this race. Phil Bardwell sticking with about 0.8 of a second behind. Now, let's see, Paga's come out behind Luke. Silent Assassin has come out behind Paga, but only half a second behind. So,
Hellboy's gone for a swim in the gravel.
Not having a good day since his start line, well, not start of a T1 collision with Corey. Let's see then.
Corey, though, right on the back of George.
Yeah, George has just made a stop, so George has just about come out in front of him, but Sam came out behind him. So, Silent Assassin, no, sorry, no, George has put a... Luke. Oh, no!
Luke!
No!
Luke's made contact with someone. Oh, he's just spun off. Either or. That's a Renault, and that's a damaged Renault.
Oh dear, Luke was running well in the points. Now he's broken a bit of his front wing, and that might be it. But there's Paul McGuinness now into the pits. But the matter will stay out. He started on the medium. He's going to take the lead of the Spanish Grand Prix. Phil Bardwell will go to P2, and Liam Robbo, who started on the hards, is also going to take into P3. But your race leader in total is Lyleblade, who's trying to get past Liam Robbo into turn 1 down the inside for the Red Bull, and that was a nice easy move, nice and slick, and that's him into what is the race lead essentially. Scott, by the way, he's up into P5. He's gone a long way on those soft tyres. He's into P5. He will drop quite a ways down as a result of pit stops, of course, but he's well up there into P5. Paga is quite a ways behind, 4.5 seconds behind in P6, but Silent Assassin is all over the back of him. Then we have this battle between George, Corey, and Sam. Paul McGuinness came out in P12 behind Kakzaksik, and he's come out in front of Tom, interestingly enough. That was as a result of the double stack. Now we go back to the matter. Let's see if he's going to come in anytime soon. But the essential race leader is Lyleblade in P3, and he's very, very close behind these guys.
Scott must come in sooner or later on those soft tyres.
Scott
can't keep going out.
He's staying out a little bit longer. Lyleblade now all over the back of Phil Bardwell as we run down to turn 1. It'll be DRS open on the Red Bull, and Phil's going to squeeze him right to the grass. He's going to have to fight for this one. They almost make contact down towards turn 1. That should be an easy move for the Red Bull. Phil's going to fight it though around the outside. No grip on the mediums, and Lyleblade into P2 as a result.
Liam.
Oh, Liam's right there. Round the outside. No way. What a move. He squeezes him right to the edge.
Him up to the
Oh, very, very close. A little bit of wheel banging as well. But Phil holds on somehow. Liam hits the back of him as well. That was heart in mouth stuff right there. Liam's looking for a way past, but he can't quite find it. Scott's gone 14 laps on these softs. I don't know how he's continuing, but he's still out there. He must be trying... He must be trying to avoid the hard tyres, maybe. And try to go, maybe, a little bit deeper and try to switch onto the mediums, and that'd be an interesting strategy.
Liam Mosey going to try a dive bomb.
There he goes, down the inside. Oh, he's going to squeeze him right out. Liam's going to force him off the track. He's absolute karma, is what Fernando Alonso would say, and that is him through into P3. Phil cannot find the grip on the mediums, but right behind him is Scott, who's on 14 lap old softs and has still got some good pace in that Renault. So let's ride on board with Scott as we run down towards turn 1. Phil is in, but Scott is not. How is he still going?
This Renault seems to have infinite tyre wear.
Let's have to make sure that he hasn't stopped. He has not stopped, I can confirm. So he has gone 15 laps.
With the banana tyres, it goes hand in hand. It fits like a glove.
And he's somehow keeping up with Liam as well. He's keeping within that 0.8 of a second bracket. And looks like there's been a problem further down. Hellboy.
Hellboy.
Oh, Hellboy. Red Bull out. The first Red Bull retirement from this race. He's into the wall. It looks like he's hit the wall coming out of the pit lane, perhaps. But that is a very, very broken Red Bull. That's him out of the Spanish Grand Prix.
I'm just trying to make work of that. That incident could possibly be in contact on the main straight. He hits the left wall and then veers off to the right and then ends up on that grass patch.
Potentially, yes. But of course, since the safety car does not really work on this game, then we can't have a safety car. But hopefully in the next game we should have, hopefully, a working safety car. I don't want to jinx it. Finally, the Matter makes the dive into the pit lane to take some new tyres. And Scott finally gives up the ghost and comes in to change those very, very worn, soft tyres onto...
Will he go on the mediums?
I think he will, because he's pushed these softs a long way. No, he's gone to the hards. So, for whatever reason...
No, hang on. Yeah, no, it's hards. It's mediums all of a sudden for me and then went back.
I think he's just opting for some fresher tyres at the end, maybe. That's probably the best. Oh, here we go. AVR Jake and Matt side by side through turn 1. Great side by side action there. AVR Jake with a nice move around the outside of turn number 1. Gets past the Matter into P number 11.
Corey is still stuck behind George.
These guys have been in this train for about 5 or 6 laps. They have been unable to get past one another. George is performing a defensive masterclass here by keeping these guys behind. Sam sticking behind as well. The dirty air obviously not helping. DRS open on Corey's car. George going defensive a little bit, just weaving out of the... trying to break the slipstream. And just up ahead is Paga in P4. But Lioblade is into the lead. Liam Robbo is in P2, but he has not stopped. He started on the hard tyres. So Silent Assassin is technically in P2 in this Grand Prix. As Scott came out in P14, by the way, in case you were wondering. Here we go then. Let's see what Corey can do. Can he finally make his way past this Force India? But it looks like George has got excellent straight line speed.
He'll have to do a Daniel Ricciardo-esque move on the brakes, otherwise he's just not going to get past that Force India at all.
Indeed. Running through turn 1 and 2 once again.
Oh, the back end's gone out of shape.
Oh,
George has gone wide.
George has gone very wide. Sector 3, Pagani's out.
Pagani.
The McLaren is out. Oh dear.
Must have swerved off that curb.
Yeah.
Back end steps out and into that wall.
So that is a shame. 4th retirement from this race. And they're all happening in the latter half. So now everybody's on the hard tyres apart from Luke. He's on the mediums down the back. Of course, he started on the hards and he had some wing damage. That's the only reason he's not on the hards. So everybody, we're trying to see if they can nurse these tyres to the end. But of course, Liam Robbo does have to stop again. He will have to change to another compound. We'll just get the detail up for you to see who has not stopped. Liam Robbo is the only one who has not stopped at this point in time.
It's interesting to see Luke abandon off of the other strategy and pit so early on the hards.
Maybe he's just hoping against all odds that it rains. which is not going to happen.
It does look to be getting a bit darker though, or in the clouds anyway, a bit more overcast.
Yep. Let's see. We're still keeping with this battle between George, Corey, and Sam, and just they're so close together, but nobody's able to make any sort of move. The dirty air obviously affecting them a lot.
Ooh, Matt are getting very close to Jake on turn 3.
Yeah, he wants to make a move past the Mercedes, who just did him around the outside into turn 1. He thinks about a move there. Jake goes a little bit deep as a result. But I don't think there'll be a move on here between the Toro Rosso and Mercedes.
Bill's lost position. Jumped into the gravel, and Scott's pounced an opportunity. Never taken him.
Scott is pretty much on the freshest tyres here for the moment. There's Matter looking, trying to go on the outside. That's unorthodox. Into that next section there, gets shoved right off by the Mercedes. That was not going to happen. Lyle Blade setting the timing screens alight. He is in complete control of this race. Out front. Liam Robert 4.2 behind, but Silent Assassin is now right on the back of him. We'll go to that battle for P2 right now. As Silent Assassin closes in for the kill. Liam
He
Robert
doesn't need to fight this. He's pitting. He should be pitting this lap. He doesn't need to fight Jordan. It's not a battle he's in.
Well, let's see if he does fight it, or if he takes the sensible option and does not. Liam's gone 19 laps on those hard tyres. He will have to use another compound. And we'll see what he uses, or what he opts for. Probably in the next lap or so. Running up the hill on board with Silent Assassin. DRS this time around. And let's see if maybe Silent Assassin can close in on Blade if he can get past Liam. And Silent Assassin looking very quick. He's not setting fastest laps. But he could be maybe start putting Blade under a little bit of pressure. But right now, Blade in clean air has been in the lead for almost every single lap of this race. Liam is in. You are spot on with that prediction. And in he comes. Silent Assassin will go to P2. Paga into P3. So Liam...
I think we missed Jordan overtaking Paga.
We may have, yeah.
I was baffled when I saw him in front of him.
Onto the mediums goes Liam. He's the only one opting for the mediums. He's on the softest compound out of everybody. Currently, he's going to come out just behind the battle between Jake and Matt, who are still fighting. He's going to come out just in front of Scott. Now, that'll be an interesting battle. Scott is on pretty much fresh hards. But, of course, Liam is on brand new mediums.
Looks like the overcuts worked for Liam. The opposite strategy has seemed to help him out.
Well, he's going to be one to keep an eye on. The field is still very close together.
Sam's backed off from Corey and George.
Oh, interesting enough, he has. So maybe he's just waiting for Corey to make a move and for them to potentially crash. He can pick up the pieces. Or maybe there's just...
round the outside, Tom tries, but Catherine managed to defend the line nicely. It's just... It looks to be everyone's getting stuck in the dirt.
Oh, there he goes.
Tom going down the inside.
That's a very nice move if he can make it down the inside. Corey's made the move on George as well. Kaksaksik fights back though on the inside. No, can't quite do it. So nice bit of racing on the way through. Now who's going to have DRS? I think it'll be Kaksaksik actually. DRS detection is just before there. Yes, he does have DRS. So here comes the Finn then in the Sauber. Can he fight back on George? He'll have to go to the outside if you... Not George, Tom. To the outside. See if he can make the move done on the brakes, and he's sweep around the outside of turn number 1. He's going to try it. Tom's going to defend though, and he's going to be into P7. Nice little battle there, and Corey did finally make the move past George for P4. And we just saw Silent Assassin sit fastest lap of the race at that time by.
He's going to be gunning for Leo. He wants that win.
And if he does...
He's not going to give it up easy.
He's obviously wants to keep the statistic of 4 different winners alive. So he's going to be pushing to the absolute limit. He's only 4.3 behind, and it's not far. He should be able to see him, actually. Just up ahead.
The main challenge will just be overtaking him.
Yeah, Lyle's not an easy man to overtake. So let's see what Silent Assassin can do. He's 4.2 behind. He's starting to eat away at that gap.
Liam has already caught up to Jake and Matt. He was 2 seconds behind them coming out of the pits.
He's pushing very hard, of course. He's going to try and sneak one up the inside, maybe. He needs to get past them as quickly as possible. There he goes down the inside. The late lunge. Jake defends it well, though.
Very unorthodox place.
Well done to Jake for looking in his mirrors and noticing he was going to do that. Left the space. Now here comes Liam Robbo. This should be no contest whatsoever. Here he comes in the Force India. He'll have to go to the inside line and try and go down the inside of the turn one, and that'll be very easy. Very light. Jake cuts back though on the outside. Can he sweep around the outside? No, gonna run out of room there. And Liam into P11 and can chase after the next target, the Matter, in P10, and see if he can get into the points.
That was some great inside line racing.
Way.
I had to do that.
If you want to race like that, you should use our. You should. If you want to race like that, you should probably use our discount code ILR League to get some money off some fake grips. God damn it! I plugged. God damn it! There we go. Back to the battle between Sam
and as bad as Tom.
I think Tom's are worse than mine, to be honest. Tom tries too hard to get them in there. Here we go. Sam on the back of George. Sorry, Tom. Back to the battle between Sam and George. He's still unable to get past, but he has caught back up to the back of him. He dropped back to a second, but now is back within half a second. I can tell you Silent Assassin is now 3.5 seconds behind Violblade. He's taken a second out of that lead.
He's gunning for that Red Bull.
This is going to be a climax. Liam Robbo sets fastest lap, 1:21.5. Where is he? He's down in 11, but he's right behind Matt. He's taken a second out of him that last half of the lap. That is how quick he's pushing, or how quick he is on track at this point in time. And Kaksaxik's still trying to stick with Tom. That battle is not over by any stretch of the imagination. But Paul McGinn is starting to catch up to them now. Flick back to Liam for a moment as he closes up to the back of the Matter. Come back to that in a moment. Well, let's go back to Sam, who's just 7/10 behind George, but now George is still just sticking within that DRS range of Corey. 9/10 of a second.
Calm back.
On board with Sam as he chases down the Spaniard. And these guys, George pinged off into space for a second on my screen. His connection is starting to suffer, it looks like.
But he didn't get pole soon.
I know. It's not possible. Impossible. Let's go back to
race gates.
Kaksaksik then. Still trying to find a way past the Ferrari of Tom. But yeah, it is definitely overcast now. The sun has receded behind the clouds. I don't think we're going to see any rain. I don't want to jinx it, but it doesn't look like we're going to see any rain. That would certainly shake things up. Kaksaksik still trying to find a way past the Ferrari of Tom. Tom must have thought he could pull away, but the Finn is sticking with him. In that Sauber. Let's go back to Liam. He's still unable to find a way past the Matter, and he needs to get past him. And this is for a points finish. He started in last, remember. He started in 19th. So it's going to be a great drive into the points no matter what. Let's watch him on the run. Oh, he goes very wide into the gravel.
Exactly the same he did the last lap.
So he's pushing very hard, exploring the grip on those mediums. And there's Paul McGuinness. Oh, Casper made a mistake. A rare mistake. And into 8th goes Paul McGuinness. And now the Matter and Liam are now right on the back of him as a result. So Kaksax is going to lose out massively. Into the pits he comes. Very late decision across the white lines. But let's go back to the Matter and Liam, who's dropped a little bit behind. And the Matter, of course, got DRS off of Kaksaksik just before the last turn.
This is Liam now into the points.
And he isn't at the points after starting 19th. Has made up 9 positions. from the start. I can tell you, Silent Assassin, it was momentarily 3.1 between himself and Lyo.
He needs Lyo to make a big mistake, which will cost him a good few tenths in order to have a real shot at this.
It's intriguing nonetheless. Keep an eye on the battle for 9th. Liam still can't find a way past the Matter, who's putting in some excellent defensive work, and he does not make the same mistake this time. He's going to try and dive bomb into the left-hander. No, thinks better of it.
It's every exit Liam needs to get better than the Matter. He always seems to run on the curb ever so too much.
Yeah, the Matter doing a great job keeping the Force Indy behind him, even on much older tyres. Yeah, I see, hit the curb too much there, lost the rear end. That's going to compromise his exit. That's exactly what he doesn't need. He will have the benefit of DRS though. The Matter going defensive, but he needs a lot more than that.
Oh dear. I've just thought for a second I was driving and I pressed circle to go and put on rich mix.
That is the definition of sweat.
I didn't. I was just too immersed in the race. I felt like I was there.
Well, technically you are.
I felt like I was the one driving.
There, Liam trying to get it. He's trying something different, trying to get the cut back. Maybe see if we get the switch back. And Matt covers it very well. So Matt was wise to that. So let's see if we can maybe... He needs to get the run through the chicane and through that long right-hander. He's trying to pull alongside already, but he needs this exit right here. And he needs to stick with Matt here. Good exit from him there. Matt goes defensive. To the outside goes the Force Indy. He's going to try late on the brakes and go sweep around the outside. The Matter's going to hold on to that one because he's got the inside line.
Too much cabbage.
And Corey gets the first corner cutting penalty today. He gets that honour.
Standard corner cutting.
I don't know how he's done that, but that's going to drop him down to 6th.
One of the advocates for strict corner cutting as well.
Here comes Sam on George. Oh, there's contact. Round the outside goes Sam. George squeezes him, and there's going to be a little bit of contact made there. Sam's going to have to go around the outside if he wants this one side by side. Is it going to come off for him? It's banging wheels as they come around. Turn along, turn 3. Fantastic stuff. Round the outside goes Sam. George fighting for every inch. Oh, no. Oh, no.
An iconic sight here in Spain.
Through goes Tom into P6. He's only lost one position, but oh, it was going so well. So well.
That's going to be inquired, surely.
Yeah, wow, George, he's fighting hard with his home Grand Prix, but he needs to avoid doing stuff like that.
He was hoping to recreate a Maldonado moment, more or less.
Liam still has not found a way past the Matter, by the way. He's still stuck behind them. He's going to have to try a dive bomb at some point. Matter goes defensive once again. To the outside. He surely switchback move this time. Nope. Can't do it. Can't get the traction.
He's got to go for the ever closing gap. Otherwise, he's just not going to get past.
And all this is just wearing his tyres down. Of course, he's on a softer compound to Matter. So let's see then.
The Matter is defending for his life because his teammates are ahead.
Yeah.
I think what he's trying to do is buying his teammate as much time as possible to get away before the inevitable eventually happens.
No sign of that just yet.
That shadow speed of the Toro Rosso is frighteningly quick, even against a DRS and slipstream assisted Force India.
Goes defensive once again, just trying to show him not to try it. Maybe a slight switchback maybe for Liam here. Oh, gets on the grass a little bit. He'll try and get the switchback here, but Matter's going to be wise to that. He's seen him try to do it before. He's trying to go maybe switch to the outside, but Matt goes defensive. Liam have to go to the inside if he wants this one. Dive down the inside. No, can't do it. I think I saw a bit of debris fly there. I think he's lost a bit of his front wing. No, he hasn't.
On my screen, but I saw a bit of debris fly off.
I think Liam's starting to get frustrated. He can't find a way past. And all this is allowing Jake to close in. This is absolute brilliant defense from the Matter. He's been doing it for the past like 6 laps straight.
Corey's out of that 3-second range to George at the moment. after the
He's right on the back of his teammate.
teammates.
Actually, he's
Team
right.
orders in play?
Maybe. Let's quickly go back to the matter momentarily. He goes defensive to the right-hand side each time. And the matter has just got such great straight line speed in that Toro Rosso, but Liam's closing in a lot this time, but still nothing. He's got to try something.
As Ricciardo said on Bottas not making the move on Vettel, you've just got to go for it.
Yeah.
If I was in that position, I would have gone for it. I wouldn't have gone for it. I'm not a dive bomber, but Ricciardo. Obviously his words, not mine.
I think Silent Assassin's tyres, I think everything he's maybe asked a little bit too much of them. The gap is just hovering around 2.8 to 3 seconds. I think he's just run out of steam. He needs Lyle Blade to make those mistakes. And Luke has got some on her back. Fastest lap of the race. 35 seconds behind in 15th.
It will be interesting to note, Jordan still has roughly 0.8 laps of fuel left to use. Leo only has 0.4.
And
Jordan uses a lot of lean mix.
So maybe he's saving fuel.
That's a very interesting time from George, a 1:18.1.
Okay, so he's completely cut the chicane, I'm going to guess. There's no way.
I get it's your home Grand Prix, George, but I don't think dishonouring the track limits is exactly fair on the hard tyres, unless this is George showing his true pace now.
Because that is
out of going lightning.
If that is a legitimate lap, that is so quick. That's a pole. That would have been pole position if he pulled that off. Oh, Liam's out. No, he's out.
No.
Into the gravel. There's been contact with somebody into the gravel trap, where the Mercedes went off in 2016.
Oh no!
What
if he held
a
it
shame!
On for just a few more laps, he could have been deemed driver of the day.
Oh no!
Give it to EFC Matthew.
The matter. He's now got the weight of it off his shoulders. He's defended for his life, and it's paid off with Liam into the wall. I'm not sure what happened though, but
you putting that together made it sound like he put him in the wall in the end.
Yeah, I didn't mean for it to come out like that. I'm not saying that. Just let the record show that I did not say that Matt put him in the wall. Paul McGinnis rolling very wide.
That's not where you want to drive. This isn't a micro. That's not how you go around that corner.
And I would agree that Silent Assassin was saving fuel, because it's down to about 2.5 with about 3 laps to go. It's just, I don't know.
Not enough time. Because even if he does catch up, he has to get past him. And at a track like this, where you've got very limited opportunities, with the only opportunities really being the turn 3 and the DRS straights and the braking zones, to the hairpins, and it's just not many options left available for Jordan if he caught up to Leo anyway.
That's the unfortunate truth. That is, of course, unless Leo makes a mistake. But there's no sign of that happening.
And Jordan having that potential penalty threat after pushing his teammate off into the gravel.
Yeah.
But Corey's backed off from Parga as George is caught up tremendously quickly.
Well, he's got a 3-second penalty anyways. He's gonna drop behind George as a result. He's only 1.5 behind.
Obviously, George's fastest lap should be investigated. If not, it'd be a lag incident with his car.
Maybe.
Rushing him over at first before his actual car came over.
Lap 32 of 33. We're going to see a battle between Sam and Tom for P6.
Former teammates colliding once again on the track in terms of battling. Because they just can't get rid of one another.
Yeah. Differing teams, Mercedes and Ferrari. And
both split their ways after the Renault season.
Well, Lyle Blade has about a lap and a half left before he becomes the first repeat winner in ILR2 to end the streak of different winners. Unless he makes a mistake in the last lap, which will put Silent Assassin to complete the statistic. But no sign of that happening at all. Lioblade is driven clinically today. And he's about to...
Surgical precision from the Red Bull.
I think this battle between Sam and Tom's going to come down to the wire. To the last lap.
Right on the back of Corey now. All he needs is a good run here, and he could challenge him into the braking zone.
Oh, he's lost it.
Corey's
Oh,
gone AWOD. That's not good.
Into fourth goes George, into his home Grand Prix. P4, the crowd stand to acclaim. Into P4 he goes. Back to the battle between Sam and Tom. Last lap. This is for P6 in this race. Sam to the outside. Tom's going to defend that very hard. And parks the bus on the apex. No way through for Sam there. Then we go through the long... Oh, there's a bit of contact. I saw a little bit of bumping there. Through the long right-hander. Tom goes a little bit defensive. Sam very close to his gearbox. Almost touching. Trying to get the switch back out of turn 3. Can he make it work? Trying to go around the outside. Very late on the brakes. No way that's going to work. Switch back on the way out potentially. But no. No cigar for Sam just yet. He's got maybe one more chance to try. Into the final DRS section then. Up the hill. Who's going to get the better exit? I think Tom got a decent one. Maybe see a dive bomb. Paul McGuinness is lurking in the background, ready to pick up the pieces. Sam's going for it down the inside. Very late.
He's overcooked it. Oh.
Meanwhile, Lioblade backed off at the last minute across the line to become the first repeat winner in ILR2. He only got across the line by only 6/10, so he must have made a mistake or backed off in the last sector. Silent Assassin was very close, but Silent Assassin takes P2 here today in Spain, and Luke's retired on the last lap. Or has he crashed in the last lap? He's... Oh, Luke!
Luke!
Oh!
Come on. All you had to do was keep the car in a straight line.
Ah. Well, Lioblade, second victory this season.
Oh, 2 tenths away from a point.
Yeah, I saw that coming across the line. Just about. Lioblade becomes the first repeat winner in Inside Line Racing 2 Season 3. Silent Assassin only 6 tenths behind. I think maybe a little bit of fuel issue maybe for Lioblade. Maybe running out of fuel across the line or something. Paga will take P3 for Williams. And we'll get the confirmation of results afterwards as well. There he is, standing on top of the podium for the second time this season, ending the streak. And 3 different manufacturers stand atop the podium. Red Bull, Ferrari and Williams. But that should be... Paga still should be in the lead of the championship with that 3rd place. We'll check that afterwards.
Hotting up to be one hell of a title battle this season, though. It's not just one driver running away.
We'll get the confirmation results up on the screen. There it is. There you have it. Lioblade with P1. Silent Assassin very close behind P2. Paga P3. George will take P4. Corey with his time penalty to P5. Tom held off Sam in the end for P6. Paul McGuinness P8. Matter P9. AVRJ takes the last point in 10th. Scott just 2 tenths of a second off P11. Kaksaksik in 12th, who's actually Swedish. I called him a Finn. Oops. Phil Vargewell P13.
No, that's Ericsson.
It's Marcus Ericsson on your screen. Kaksaksik is Swedish on my screen. It's very confusing.
Swedish.
It's very confusing.
Screen.
Oh dear.
Change to Marcus Ericsson.
Well, that is going to be it for round 4 of Inside Line Racing 2. Round 4. It's been a good race once again, but we're in for probably an interesting race next week. We're heading to Monaco next time out for round 5. We'll hope you join us then. Who is going to be the champion this year? We still don't know 4 rounds in. Lioblade, first repeat winner, so that statistic is over. But it's going to be a very close battle in the championship no matter what. So thank you all so much for watching. We will see you next time out, same time next week, for Inside Line Racing 2 from Monaco. Thank you so much for watching. Good night.
Cheerio.